We've returned.
So, we have returned. Welcome back to another episode of Twitching UpStream, which is literally my favorite show that Michael Colby's not on the weekends.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, out of all the shows we do, if Michael Colby's not on it, this is my favorite. This show is a side project from one of our other shows called Talking UpStream. That should be coming back soon for season 2. I've been reaching out to some people. Kenya Barris has said no, and George Lucas also has said no.
Have they actually said no, or are we still waiting on a response?
No, they responded very fast with a very harsh no.
Oh, all right. Well,
actually, the one that was pretty funny, Kenya Barris, if you don't know, he's the guy who writes hashtag #BlackAF.
okay.
You know, he's done a whole lot of things. I sent him and Tyler Perry a message at the exact same time, almost immediate. It was so fast that I thought that I had gotten the email address wrong, and from Tyler or from Kenya Barris was like, "This is not possible." And I was like, "Oh, geez, that's just crazy." Either way, I love Kenya Barris. Okay, so Talking UpStream, what we do there, we find creators of movies, podcasts, books, et cetera, and then we interview them. We talk about their process, how they get things from paper to conceptualized design or whatever. And then we pitch a brand new idea to them, hopefully trying to impress them. And then together with them, we make up something weird. We have 42 episodes down on our YouTube channel. You can find that over at Some Nobodies. And what we decided to do was kind of branch this off. Instead of just keep making new stuff, we could do that. We are that talented to do that.
Yeah.
But we also wanted some help in creating things to make them a little bigger. So we want to take cool concepts that we did on that show and then have like a live show where we show people that might care how we develop projects into such things as Silicon Angels, which is a really cool concept. It was actually our very first project, and that's like a found footage of IT calls from a sex robot shop. If that is interesting to you and you like the idea of making fun of toxic masculinity, then go check out Silicon Angels. You can see a bunch of weird stuff we make down here. But yeah, anyway, what we do on this show is just create more. So we kind of take one of our concepts, work on it all the way out to being something like, hey, if we wanted to make this, we could make this. Before we get to the creation process, I always have some weird nerd stuff that I try to throw Dylan to really get any kind of emotion. If you're wondering, his screen is not frozen. This is his resting Dylan face. He's got the RDF. Classic RDF. So, some things I want to talk to you about today.
Yeah.
I was looking up a bunch of weird conspiracies, movie conspiracies. So I like the idea of movie theories. How we talked about how Tarantino has his dual concepts. I was really trying to find one within the Wes Anderson universe.
Right.
And there's a couple, but they're not really that cool. Some are like the animals from Royal Tenenbaums are based on the actual people that are in there, which makes sense.
Sure.
Some people say Moonrise Kingdom is about 10 years, or 10 years after Moonrise Kingdom is Royal Tenenbaums, and it's the same people. And then Gwyneth Paltrow is the love child of those two kids there. But one thing that I found really interesting was there's a pretty big theory out there that Snowpiercer is the unofficial sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
It.
Yeah, where little Charlie grows up, learning a lot from Willy, changing his name and becoming Wilfred, running the very last because he has a lot of money.
Yeah.
And let's see, Veruca Salt's character would grow up to be Tilda Swinton, and Mike TV would be the security guard person. Pretty cool theory. Obviously, it doesn't really have any legs to it whatsoever. But
can I spin off that real quick?
Please.
I have my own theory that Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory and Cabin in the Woods take place in the same universe, and the Chocolate Factory is one of the facilities above one of the Elder Gods from Cabin in the Woods.
Oh.
Because they have the same kind of, you have your jock, your nerd, your slut, your virgin, and in that one, the virgin survives. Is that the one?
Why?
Yeah. or what do
Like they call it sluts, or you call them sluts?
They call it sluts from
Okay.
Cabin in the Woods,
Oh, yeah,
or something else.
Yeah.
But
Never heard you
it
say
follows the same. Oh well,
I don't like it, just for the record. But
sorry.
No,
It follows the same kind of formula as a horror movie, where the kids slowly get picked off, and you have the moment in the train or the boat tunnel that is their moment of choosing they choose their path.
Oh.
And it kind of, you have the same archetypes and the same sort of things. So that was my own little mini.
Yeah, I could definitely say
Yeah,
that. And you've definitely heard my theory on Willy Wonka, how it was all set up for him to actually murder kids just to get out of a tax write-off.
Yeah.
If you want to hear about my weird theories on that, I don't know, ask me, and I'll tell you.
Go back through all of our episodes one by one. Just our numbers.
And if you don't, whatever. No big deal.
Whatever.
Now, one thing that I did want to talk to you, for me to find like a theory, I need to find either a lot of movies that can be linked together or a show that has a pretty solid duration.
Sure.
When I looked up shows that have the longest duration, SpongeBob SquarePants is up there.
Yeah.
And there turns out that there's one theory in SpongeBob that I kind of wanted to talk to you about. Yeah. I don't know your level of expertise when it comes to SpongeBob or not.
Moderate.
But there is the product, the Krabby Patty, right? And there's the secret recipe that nobody knows, even though Mr. Krabs and Plankton together has created this concept years and years ago. Plankton has always looked for the one secret ingredient. There's been a couple episodes where they show the secret ingredient, and people have kind of picked up on that and looked at it. While doing some research, if you Google what's in a Krabby Patty, the secret ingredient, what they'll tell you is something called King Neptune's Poseidon's powder. And when you actually Google King Neptune's Poseidon powder, it is cocaine. Cool. So one of the main theories is that the secret ingredient in a Krabby Patty is cocaine, which is why SpongeBob, who eats the most of Krabby Patties, works constantly and very diligently and doesn't get paid because he can just eat a bunch of cocaine. Yeah. Sure. Now, the weirder, darker theories are that if you look at the majority of things in SpongeBob on the menu, say a kelp burger made of kelp, seaweed salad made of seaweed. Now, a Krabby Patty, you would think, has crab in it. There is one episode where Mr. Krabs actually bites a Krabby Patty for the first time and says, quote, "That's what I taste like." Now, which is very weird. And if you look at where Bikini Bottom is filmed, whatever, it is actually based on a place called Bikini Atoll, which is where they would test nuclear blast sites. So there's the idea and the concept that SpongeBob is just a Jacques Cousteau person that found this weird radiated area and is just watching these crazy people. But within that, there is this crazy, Krabby Patty that just makes no sense to me. And I think that a lot of it is, I think it's chum. I think that's what's actually in the burger, which would make sense because, it is the chum bucket is what, what Plankton makes.
Isn't there an episode where they say that the secret ingredient is plankton?
There is one episode where they say that, but it's just to get Plankton.
It's to get him upset. Or something. Yeah.
And that turns out to be not right because there's multiple episodes where it shows that Plankton was there at the conception of the original Krabby Patty.
Yes.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer that it is chum, which is, I guess, fine, but that would mean that he has to find dead fish to throw into this? If it's crab, and we don't really see other crabs, and
we don't.
Yeah,
we never
see a lobster.
We do see a lobster.
Yeah,
I haven't seen every episode. I stopped.
Oh, I haven't seen every episode either. I mean, that thing jumps the shark hard. Once the first
like 3 seasons. Yeah.
Well, the original creator only had the idea to get to the movie. The movie was supposed to be the end of it.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon was making way too much money. You'll actually, if you want, I mean,
there's some drama about the modern day, about the current stuff going on with the prequel series too.
Oh, don't know. Is that the Camp Coral?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's some weird stuff in there. But if you watch the last episode of Camp Coral, you find out that Sandy has sent a version of herself back in time to teach SpongeBob how to be better to her in the future.
Whatever.
Right. I'm actually working on a very long documentary called Zackalodian. Zack for short.
Cool.
That's actually true.
Okay. No, anyway. I believe it.
So Do you think it's Chum in there?
I think
because if you look at the creators, they're so into actual science, they're so into actual things. They put a lot of weird stuff in a lot of the shows that link to each other. They have to know.
I think it's funnier to me. Oh, I don't know, Crab or Chum.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other crabs.
I like the idea that Mr. Krabs has figured out that his people are the tastiest, and that's why he's depopulated the surrounding region. But I also like what?
I said, oh goodness.
But I also like the image of him going out to dig up graves, like new, fresh graves.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, which he has done.
Oh, absolutely.
We have watched him in the show dig up the grave of at least one person on camera.
Yeah.
Either one. I think I'm cool with either one being canon.
I think I like the Chum theory the most.
Yeah.
But, all right, cool. So I'm going to let Dylan kind of take over here and talk about what we do with the rest of the show, what we were doing the last couple of these episodes, and then what we're trying to complete with the rest of today's show.
Yeah. So, Twitching UpStream, as Zach explained earlier, is an offshoot of Talking UpStream where we expand on ideas that we've previously kind of outlined, because you can't make something out of just a brief outline. So this is just to get more details. This episode, the previous kind of like series we did was Force Limit, I believe.
The last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it was about a bunch of robots and they're hanging out to try to solve a person's murder. And it got real crazy towards the end. Because we were fans of escalation. And this week, and this series we're doing right now, is a project we've kind of tentatively called the code name. The Blue Harvest is Complex Paranoia. Here's a little development document we're doing. The idea was originally developed on episode, I believe, 33 of Talking UpStream with the two folks who wrote The Faculty, where the idea is that the main character has created a device that can passively skim thoughts and print them onto paper. And he realizes that someone in his apartment building has committed a murder. Doesn't know who, but he knows that someone in the apartment building has committed a murder. And then weather rolls in and prevents anybody from leaving, and then that person kind of finds out that someone may know. So it turns into this kind of cat and mouse game in an apartment complex during a weather event. We have gone through and kind of developed who is living in this apartment building.
Yep.
Young unmarried couple, a deadhead, some college kids, a large family, the maintenance person, the prepper, etc. And we had just at the end of the last episode figured out who the murderer was. Spoiler alert, it's the old deadhead. Not necessarily due to malice. Excuse me,
What is going on with you,
I
sir?
am exhausted
We
today.
are on mountain time.
We are on mountain
roughly
time.
a little after 4
and
p.m.
I have been
here.
climbing uphill all day.
I've
been awake for 12 hours.
Okay, me too. Probably. I have no idea.
All right.
He works uphill.
I do work
up
up
one flight of stairs to get here.
I did walk up one flight of stairs. I've been walking all day. I
Uphill?
already hit 8,000 steps.
8,000.
It's a number that was made up by a computer. All numbers were made up. Anyway,
he's walked exactly 8,000, then he stopped.
yes, I
have to carry him back to his car later.
And then I have to have my roommate carry me back inside.
Yep.
We are developing this idea. Last week, we decided that the old deadhead was going to be the murderer because he was on some bad LSD, which he bought off the college students.
Yep.
He killed the number 2 member of unmarried couple. We'll give them all names at some point.
Yeah.
While they were waiting outside for their ride share. So that way, we know a murder's been committed. We know that someone is intentionally not there as a red herring.
Yep.
Kind of. It's kind of a misdirect red herring.
Yeah.
But it turns out that's the person who dies. And then we need to figure out kind of where the story goes from here.
Yeah. So is that where do you think we can get done the whole thing?
No.
Okay.
Next week on Twitching UpStream from last week. Who wasn't at the party and why? More murder stuff and alibis, etc. Okay. So we know who was killed and we know the murderer.
Yeah.
We don't know the method. We don't know how things are going to go from here. We don't know who wasn't at the party.
Yeah. So we know when the murder happened, correct? It happened before the party.
It happened before the party in the early morning because they were going to the airport to fly out to Chicago.
Yeah. And let's see. So we have when it was happened, we have who the murder is. And then I guess what we got to figure out is, so they leave the party. Our main character leaves the party, and then that's when they find all the documents, right?
Yeah.
And they're like checking to see what everyone thinks of main character's friend, main character's outfit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they're also asking specific questions to try to figure out, once the printout comes out, roughly who the log is.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So that means that we have to have, I guess, roughly 4 people that are on the log that they can't figure out who they are.
Yeah.
We also need to figure out maybe 2 people that were never at the party. Right?
Yes. I think we have.
Because one person is working.
Yeah.
But they also have been sick.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if they actually went to work or not. And what time of day is this party?
Midday.
It's midday.
Yeah. Starts at 4.
Cool.
Food's on at 5.
All right. So the college kids gave the old deadhead some bad LSD or something.
Yeah.
So they could film him and put on their YouTube or Tix Watch channel.
They have a prank. They have a prank channel.
Oh, a prank channel.
And the prank is that they give someone bad LSD.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They get some bad LSD. Yeah, and normally nothing really happens except for talking to air vents, trying to eat random furniture, the stupid stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was at the party, the same stuff kind of happened. The guy, the deadhead, was just tripping weird, and he decided to leave. And after he leaves to go to bed, that's when he murders someone. But he doesn't remember doing it.
The murder happens that morning.
Oh, it happens that morning.
It happens that morning. He's still tripping.
He's tripping earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's long lasting.
Well,
longer than normal.
That's most bad trips are.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
Well, yeah, at least longer than you want them to last.
Yeah. All right, cool. So they get it to him earlier in the day, thinking that it will roughly wear off around the party time.
Oh, yeah, I think they're planning on, yeah.
Right. Well, who cares what the
okay, we've got a timeline up. That morning. Timeline.
Not a good movie. Very good book.
Is that Michael Crichton?
It is Michael Crichton.
I figured.
But a very bad Paul Walker movie.
Oh.
Yeah, really, really not good.
All right. Night before, college kids give deadhead bad LSD. Does he know that they dosed him?
Well, he asked for LSD.
He bought it from them, and they...
He's like, maybe like the college kids are like the deadhead's like last ditch effort. If he can't get mushrooms from his normal guy, or weed from his normal guy, or salvia divinium from his normal guy, or what's the other fake drugs in movies called? Like whenever had like synthetic weed or something.
Spice.
Spice is pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so he really wants some drugs for the party because he doesn't want to hang out with all these hipsters, right? And he gets a bunch. He gets more than he was asking for from the college kids. So he takes some early.
Yeah.
They were hoping he would take it before the party.
They were hoping that he would not be high at the party.
They were hoping that he would take it for the party.
Okay.
He took it way before the party.
College kids were hoping he would wait until the party to trip.
Yeah.
But he trips early because he's out. Yeah, he's dry.
Yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's been out for about a day and a half. All right, so during his trip, it's a very bad trip. Let's see. Have we figured out how
we haven't figured out the method. That's part of what we're figuring out this episode.
No, I don't think it should be violent.
Okay.
But I think it should look bad.
Yeah.
So what okay, how about this idea? Say that maybe while hallucinating, he ends up on the roof. Somebody sees
Okay.
him on the roof,
Mm-hmm.
tries to maybe help him down.
Okay.
They fall.
Okay.
Or he...
I was thinking
Mhm.
he sees the person waiting outside for the ride share.
Yeah.
Weather's coming on, it's really cold.
Mhm.
Somehow winds up with that person falling into the pool, hitting their head,
Mm.
and then hypothermia and freezing or drowning. That way it's not intentionally malicious.
Yeah.
That way the body is hidden.
Mhm.
And that way it doesn't, that way they can be like, well, I thought they got on the ride share because I didn't see them.
Mhm.
I'm fine with either one of them.
No, I like that. Because I do like eventually if they find the person in the
And then you have that
in the pool.
that hard realization where they were at the barbecue and they're like just outside that
Yeah.
person was in the pool.
Yeah, and I think a really cool reveal would be maybe close to the end of the party. Like some people are like, let's just go like smoke a cigarette or something.
Yeah.
And then they go outside and they're like, what is that? What's all this?
Yeah.
And then they find that person floating in the pool.
It's got the cover on it, but they slipped like on the edge of the cover, and so part of the cover is pulled back.
Yeah. Or they just fell into the pool. Well, that's a little what's that Shyamalan movie? Unbreakable.
What are you in water? Oh, Unbreakable. He
No,
drowns
he
in a
falls
puddle.
into like the
No, it's Unbreakable.
I
You can watch our review of Unbreakable on the Real Boys episode something. I don't know. It's out there.
Yeah. Okay, so I do like them slipping and falling in the. Okay, so maybe the guy sees a person standing outside,
Mhm.
and he's like, "It's really cold out there. They need like extra clothing, right?" So he gets like his bearskin rug, and he's like, "I'm gonna go cover them with this rug." And he goes outside, and this person's like scared,
Yeah.
because there's just something coming at them,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and they run around the back just as the ride share pulls up. So they don't catch the ride. When they run around back, they slip, and
It's his spirit hood.
yeah, love that.
So it's like the person in the darkness of the early morning. They think it's some sort of like
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah, and it's just his hoodie that has like actual like fake bear claws and a fake bear head on it. And he's like, I should go get them this. So as they run around the back of the building, scared of this Wendigo or something, they slip on the pool. When the old deadhead gets back around there, he thinks they're just sleeping. So he puts the rug thing on them or whatever.
Okay.
But I guess they got to get into the pool.
I figured
Because I like them having this fur thing on as they fall in the pool. Because people find it and they're like, what is this?
I see.
And they go, oh, that's Anne from upstairs. I thought Anne and Melvin were leaving for...
Why is Anne? I thought Anne was going to Chicago.
Yeah.
She's meeting her friend, wasn't she? Wasn't so and so going to go with her? He didn't though.
Yeah. Wait, he's still here. I thought we just...
I think if this character, if Anne is not wearing the spirit hood, it's a good misdirect to pointing toward her partner as the culprit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
All right. So yeah.
you said she was going to Chicago, but she's dead in the pool.
Yeah.
What? And then you have that misdirect of where you think.
All right. So as she's running around back, she just slips into the pool.
Yeah.
When the guy gets back around there, he just can't find her.
Yeah.
And thinks that she's safe. So he just goes.
Deadhead needs to think he killed her so that the thought skimmer can pick it up.
Oh,
He sees it and he's like, I'm responsible
This
for
is my
that.
fault. Maybe okay. So maybe when she runs on the back, she stops, and the guy's like, "Just let me put this on you." And she's like,
It's cold out here. Put this on.
yeah, and she's like, "Just whatever, you go away." And he's like, "You need this."
Yeah.
And then that's when she like slips and falls into the
Yeah.
pool, and he's like, "Oh my god, I just killed this person.
Yeah.
I killed them with kindness."
Mm-hmm.
So
This is a tragic turn of events.
it can be. So he goes back home. He goes back to his apartment, and he's just like trying to sleep it off and wait for the party, where he's just nonstop thinking, "I hope nobody knows I killed this person. I hope nobody knows I killed this person. I was just trying to keep them safe," or something like that.
Yeah.
And it has like maybe like a second phrase that you know.
Yeah.
I like them maybe being like, "Does this phrase make any sense to you?" And
There's a second. It should be something brought about by the tripping.
yes, but also
So that way it's very like kind of weird.
Yeah, it's obscure, but also it leads them to think like, oh, this was the partner or
Mhm.
something else. Yeah, okay, we'll get
to it.
Yeah, 'cause I like the idea of saying like, why do they have to leave, or why do they have to go, or
Yeah.
what was this trip necessary? Something like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now it's 2 hours, right? 2 hours before the party
Yeah, sure.
when the incident happens.
Oh, is it? The death happens at like 4 a.m.
Oh,
because she's taking a ride share to Chicago to the airport, so she can fly to Chicago, get to Chicago in the early morning.
now what does her partner think is happening?
She is getting on the airplane.
Why?
Oh, they had an argument. Hold on, where is it?
I forget what that was.
Unmarried couple. Unmarried couple. The guy or one of them, the one who lives, was cheating on his partner. They were going to go on a trip to save their relationship, but the fact that they were cheating gets out, and so the first person goes on the trip anyway, and is meeting a friend in Chicago who's going to use the second ticket. But they leave. Partner doesn't know that they die.
So maybe that's why the guy originally tries to help the woman. I guess we'll say it's the woman who.
Oh yeah.
So maybe like, all right. So maybe the guy who leaves in the rideshare, the woman is running after, like to try to get in the thing. Like, hey, I thought we were going together or whatever.
Oh, I think we misunderstood each other. Sorry. She was leaving on the rideshare. She's the one who's killed. Partner stays behind because she's leaving without him because she realizes he's cheating on her. I think I was being a little vague as to who was who.
No. I understand. Because I almost like it both ways.
Yeah.
You know, I like it if the one was like, we were supposed to do this to save our relationship. I got to get out of here. If you're cheating, you stay. And then the one leaves, the other one dies.
Oh.
When they come back, maybe they come back and they're like, blah 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 blah. I don't know if I like that very much.
We had an idea last week where there's a reveal towards the end of the second act where one of them gets a phone call where it's like, hey, so and so never showed up. She was supposed to be on the plane. Where is she?
Yeah.
And that's when we realized, oh, the person we thought was intentionally gone because they took a trip is actually missing and a victim.
That's right. That's why she had to take the ride share. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that's the same. So Anne.
Anne. Her name is Anne.
It's gotta be Anne now. All right. So Anne and Melvin, they are the couple that are having a hard time.
Yeah.
And they plan kind of a romantic getaway to Chicago, just to try to rekindle their stuff. Anne has been cheating on Melvin.
Oh, okay.
Right?
The one who stays is cheating because the one who goes on the trip leaves them behind and is like, you're not coming with me.
Okay.
I'm going with my friend. We're meeting in Chicago. She's getting your ticket.
Okay, cool.
We were going to Cancun or Cabo Wabo. We were going to what's the place beach place thing about?
Bermuda or Bahamas?
Coconut?
Or come on, Pretty Mama. You mean Key Largo or Montego? You know where we should go? To Key Largo.
Kokomo.
Way down in Kokomo.
Because it's in like Illinois.
Kokomo's in Illinois?
It's in like yeah.
Nah. Kokomo's got to be like a beach or something.
Nope, it's in Indiana.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. Off Florida Keys, there's a place called.
Yeah, the whole thing's in Florida Keys. There's no way that friggin' Beach Boys are taking somebody to Indiana.
We're figuring this out. Why not the Beach Boys?
Yeah, why would they go to non-beach?
Oh, there is no real life place in Kokomo in South Florida.
But it would be in the Keys.
There's a Kokomo in Indiana.
Okay. All right, so we're going to Kokomo, Indiana, because they
misunderstood the Beach Boys.
They thought it was a fancier place, like the Greenland, Iceland
with the vacation
thing.
in Kokomo.
They're like, it has to be nice,
Indiana, because they misunderstood the song.
And they're like, duh, because like how they named Iceland that, so no one would go there.
Anne found out Melvin is cheating.
Yeah.
So she intends for her friend in Chicago to come with her. She leaves Melvin behind.
Yeah.
And dies in the pool after getting chased around by Deadhead.
Yeah.
Deadhead.
Deadhead, Wendigo. All right, I'm cool with that. So,
Okay, cool.
all right, so that's 4 a.m.
Yes.
And then now we have to get to the party.
Yes.
That's 4 p.m.
That afternoon,
Okay, so that afternoon,
MC activates.
MCP pants.
Yes. Activates Thought Skimmer.
Oh, yeah, MC.
What's that?
MC main character.
Yeah,
I heard
MC.
MC like a DJ, which made me think of MCP pants.
Yeah.
Give me some candy.
Bubblegum taffy.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the Thought Skimmer turned on right before the party, and he is testing it on his friend just to make sure that the basics work. It is printing out thoughts. They, I guess, widen the range.
It just got a passive range of
It
like
just passive
300 feet.
All right, cool. They do notice that not only is the friend's thing printing out, that it doesn't have a name. That's when they discover it's like ID numbers. Oh, okay, so you're 0001 because you're the first one to have it on here. And then they have a couple thoughts coming out pretty rapidly because everyone's, having thoughts. There's a couple of weird thoughts from the Deadhead who's, going crazy somewhere.
What's the Deadhead's name?
His name is what's like an older man's name, like
Melvin, but we're already using Melvin.
No, like Winchell. Is that a name?
Winchell? Are you thinking about the donut place? Are you hungry?
I am thinking about the donut place.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a name? What's the old man's
House?
What's the man's name in the Walking Dead? The Herschel.
Herschel.
I like Herschel.
Yeah. Oh, Herschel's on something. Oh no, wait. Oh, this one is Herschel's.
Yeah.
He's on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They figure out pretty easily who's who initially. Some of them.
Well, they probably shouldn't figure out Herschel.
No, they shouldn't figure out Herschel.
Yeah, because he's the one
He's
who's
always thinking about killing someone.
And they go, wow, who is thinking about? Because he's having weird thoughts, but they can't link it down to who it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's thinking about eating Legos? Like, what's up with this?
At first, it's all fun and games, but then one thought line says, "Murder."
Yeah, and they're like, oh, is somebody going to murder us at the party? But they obviously just turn it down and go, whatever. They go to the party anyway, and it's a fine party. They notice that some people are late, and Melvin does show up for like a second.
Yeah.
Anne obviously doesn't show up. The college kids are there pushing their synthetic spice.
College kids are recording.
Yeah, they have like a film thing, and they're just recording people like boom mics and whatever.
They're pranking.
Yeah, they're pranking. Basic pranks.
Prank stars. Worldwide.
We have the old couple, right? And
yes.
They're just chilling, and what, are they playing games or something?
They're
what's a game that
they're not playing games. They have their book stands and they're just reading about World War II battleships and Nancy Reagan's historic exploits in Hollywood.
Yeah, / fashion advice.
It's topical.
Well, I was thinking if they play a game like Mafia, where there would be the idea of like a murder.
Sure.
And then that way, when they're like, I can't believe I murdered that person, they're like, who's still thinking about this?
I like
game?
that. So they organize a game of Mafia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got that going on. And I guess the Deadhead has to come through there eventually.
Yeah.
Just freaking out, but kind of at the end of it, and he yells at the college kids for trying to kill him.
That is on the end of a trip and confronts the college kids.
Yeah.
He sees the Deadhead confront the college kids, but doesn't pick out any of the actual words.
Yeah, but he's pretty upset.
Yeah.
But they almost make out, and they're like him kind of joking, like, "You trying to kill me or something?"
Almost make out.
Because
He's on ecstasy.
Yeah.
Or Molly.
Because they're watching Too Fast and Too Furious.
Yeah.
Not One Fast, One Furious.
Multiple Fasts and several Furious.
Yeah. Okay, so party goes on without a hitch, whatever. Most people show up, some people don't. And when the party ends, that's when the main character goes back to their place.
Yeah.
And they're looking through all the notes, and they go, "Oh yeah, it turns out so and so was cheating on Mafia. I knew cheating."
Yeah.
and there's maybe a couple thoughts from Melvin, like, where's Anne? You know, like, how do I find Anne?
He knows Anne is on her trip.
Well, I guess what I was trying to allude to was people that are looking for her, and that way, when they go back and go, well, then why were you looking for her? Yeah, or something like that. Like, if there are people that are wondering where she is, or like, oh my god, I hope she's gonna make it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe because I like the idea of them looking through and to go, well, why were you? Because so if you look at thoughts like a text message, there's no inflection to them whatsoever. Right. So it's just words.
Yeah.
Now, if they read the words in a certain dialect, it's going to sound worse. So if, say, Melvin knows eventually that Anne left, and he's like, I hope she makes it.
I hope she makes it.
I hope somehow like pulling through to make it seem like, wait, did you do something and you knew she was hurt? And he's like, no, I knew she was leaving. And they go, that sounds pretty suspicious. No one else knew she. You know what I mean? Like, trying to allude. Like, if people are having different thoughts about Anne, maybe one of the people who lives there knows that Anne was leaving.
Yeah.
To go see somebody. So
someone saw Anne like walking out by herself.
Yeah. And they're like, man, I hope Anne.
And thinks it's weird Melvin didn't go with her.
Yeah.
Highlighting strife to paint like,
or maybe when that person sees Anne outside, they see Anne with a man. And they go, oh, maybe Melvin went with her.
Both of them were cheating.
Yeah, or something, you know, and maybe because they're like, well, somebody thought that Anne was with a guy, and if it wasn't you, who was it? And like, I don't know, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to make sure that the main characters have a good amount of people to start asking questions.
Yes.
Because once they get, to me, the deadhead is going to have some crazy thoughts, which aren't exactly murder.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And one of them might even be like, I can't believe I killed that woman.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Herschel, what are you up to?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was tripping balls all day. Don't worry about me.
Pupils are huge.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. Wait, how?
And they go, okay, well, what about this? He's like, well, I was playing Scrabble by myself, so I was just making up words.
Yeah.
And they go, well, you definitely thought of murder a couple times.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't kill anybody. It's interesting to turn that into less an intentional murder, because part of the initial story idea was that the murderer kind of goes after the main character. Do we need another plot to intersect with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Where, like, we think that part of the plot is...
Well, okay, does
Melvin snap?
Oh. Like, everyone keeps asking Melvin, like...
Yeah.
I can't believe you did this.
And then Melvin actually kills someone, and then it shifts into, like...
Okay, so what if as everyone's going around, maybe somehow, I don't know how this can happen, maybe somehow Melvin and Herschel end up together.
Okay.
Or somehow Melvin breaks into the main character's place and looks at the paper and is like, Herschel did this.
Oh, okay.
So that he goes and murders Herschel, but thinking to himself, I can't think about this.
Melvin finds out about the thought skimmer.
Yeah, maybe the person who saw in the morning realizes that it was Herschel, doesn't want to say anything, but is thinking it. Like, I can't believe Herschel killed that person.
Yeah.
They were the last one around Anne. Like, what? Why would he chase her around the back? Like, what's going on there? You know, so Melvin is like, crap, there's a thought skimmer going on. I need to kill this person, but I cannot think about it.
Yeah.
So he's constantly like whistling a song or thinking about a movie.
Yeah.
You know, while trying to do his thing.
I really like that as the third act.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. So we have to find our body, right? So to find Herschel's body.
Yeah, they identify partway through Act 2. They
find Anne.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, that's a good scene.
Maybe Melvin finds Anne or Herschel.
Herschel finds Anne?
Yeah, maybe Herschel's like, I had a weird dream that maybe somebody fell in the pool or something.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm just going to say someone
I guess they
finds
just find
Anne.
Anne. Just find Anne.
Herschel?
Well, I don't know.
Melvin?
I don't know about that. Maybe it's just people from the party. They just find Anne in the pool.
One of the excuse me. One of the people is really into what is it when you get in water when it's super cold outside?
Oh, like a polar bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's really into that.
Yeah. So they go, hey, remember, this is our annual blah, blah, blah block party / polar bear plunge.
Is it the old couple? And they're like, it's good for circulation.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm into that.
Someone finds Anne.
They just jump onto her.
Oh, God. Old couple is into polar plunges.
Yeah.
Discovers Anne's frozen body inside the pool. Because pools don't really freeze because of all the chlorine and chemicals in them.
A lot of chlorine and chemicals.
Yeah.
And they realize that Anne's body is frozen and has been there for quite a while.
Yeah. They don't really know how long it's been there because it's super cold. They know that, she was supposed to leave this morning, but she never did.
So
and that happens at the same time. Happens at roughly the same time that Melvin gets a call from Anne's friend saying she never showed up.
Yeah.
We have this. I say we have multiple confrontations happening at the same time.
Yeah.
We have main character and friend think that Melvin is the killer because they're like, "Hey, she disappeared," or no. There needs to be some misdirect pointing towards. I don't know why I was thinking they would immediately think that Anne was the victim.
Yeah.
But Melvin's being confronted at some point, and he gets a phone call at the same time that the old couple's going out and polar plunging. Maybe Melvin's just confronting the main characters, and they decided to come clean like, hey, that thing we've been working on and we talk about all the time, it reads thoughts, and it prints out the results. Someone here killed Anne. Because at that point, someone probably thought, did I kill Anne?
Yeah.
And he's like, no one killed Anne. She got on an Uber this morning to the airport. And then he gets the phone call.
Yeah.
And then they hear screams from outside in the pool.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that. But it's also at the same time like Herschel's yelling at the college kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, but I like that. There's commotion going on.
Yeah.
So Melvin gets the phone call that Anne never showed up, and maybe Melvin confronts main character and is like, "Hey, you've been asking about Anne all day. What's up with this? Did you do something to her?" And that's when the reveal is like, "Hey, we have this thought scanner, and maybe for some reason main character is just doing something." I like the idea of Melvin breaking into main character's place.
Yeah.
And finding the thought skimmer and going through it and like kind of he does most of the legwork.
Yeah.
And he's like starting to track people down.
Yeah.
And maybe he's like figure out who did it.
Based on some prior interaction which only happened to him. Which only Melvin knows the context of.
Yeah.
Maybe he noticed something at the party that the main character did between like Herschel and the college kids, and then he goes back and sees ID 142 is also the one that says they killed Anne, and they're also the one that said, "I gotta find those college kids are punks for selling me that bad LSD." Who here does LSD all the time? It's Herschel. God damn it, he's the one who killed Anne. Breaks the thought skimmer.
Yeah.
Does he break it? Because he's like, this is an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, I think he breaks it, and or somehow the information gets lost. Like,
oh yeah,
I like that maybe like Melvin has the paperwork or whatever, the printouts.
Yeah, I like it that he
knows, but he's also assuming.
I think I like it more that he breaks the printouts.
Yeah.
Because that way they can use the thought skimmer in some way.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah, I like that. I also was kind of thinking if Melvin possibly wanted to kill Anne.
Sure.
Because like if there was a thought like later on, like we kind of know that you were thinking about this.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like maybe two different thoughts that are like, oh God, somebody did it.
There's a moment in the third act of the final confrontation where he holds up a printout from Rowan. It's like, Melvin, we know you're mad. We know you're only mad because he got to her first.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. MC holds up Melvin's printout. Maybe somehow the main character refines it briefly where he can, or finds a way to print out a single person's thoughts.
Yeah,
he can like target it specifically.
Yeah, once he has the ID number, then he's like, filter this down.
MC can isolate specific IDs, thoughts.
And then due to the thought cloud, they can go back through the entire day since it was turned on, isolate just Melvin's thoughts.
Yeah. Because Herschel got to her first. Yeah, that would be a good moment.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. All right, so what are some other things that we're going to need in the third act, though? Because we have the reveal that it was Herschel. We have the reveal that it was that Melvin was going to do it.
Yeah.
What's like the big? What's the majority of this act?
I wonder if Herschel shouldn't be killed, but they catch Melvin in the act and have to talk him down. And that's the victory, is that it's like they prevent another death happening. As opposed to they get to Melvin too late and then they just have to tie him up.
Yeah, I like that they're trying to find Melvin, who now wants to kill Herschel. And maybe they can make this skimmer portable and they go, we need to find him before he does it. And it just keeps printing out his thoughts. And it's like, as soon as I get him, and then it goes to like, all right, I got him. And we're about his fingernails or something, and it's like, oh, and like one just says like, knife, wrench, and they go, what is he doing? Because since they only have it on one person's thoughts, and now Melvin's crazy. So I guess they're just running around with this machine trying to find Melvin, who wants to kill Herschel because Herschel killed Anne before he could, which makes Melvin realize that he loves Anne.
Wait. Wait, run that by me one more time.
I'm trying to figure out why Melvin will kill Herschel, other than the fact that he wanted to kill Anne.
He's angry.
Yeah, but why?
Because he wanted to kill Anne.
So he's a homicidal maniac.
Yeah.
Okay.
This broke him.
Okay, so there is either that or I thought about killing her just like every couple does, but once, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And now I love Anne. And you took her from me, Herschel.
And it's like, you're trying to convince yourself real hard, man, but I'm like reading the printout actively as
it all says, I hope to bind this. I hope to bind this. I hope to bind this. I hope to bind this.
Yeah. Melvin tries to pass it off as I love Anne, but the printout just says, I hope they're buying.
Yeah. And it's like, this is a justifiable homicide. You killed my fiance.
Yeah.
It's like, I think you just want to kill somebody.
I think you're trying to kill someone, man.
Yeah.
Like, you got that weird, like, dog breeding thing you're doing. Like,
okay, and then, all right, so how does it end? So it ends with them finding Melvin before he kills Herschel. There is the thought that now Melvin is just a homicidal maniac and has been killing people for years. What's the end?
Do they just wait the storm out and the cops take him away? Or is this the thing where he is this the Fargo ending where he runs outside and dies to some other?
Melvin's got to go.
Yeah,
I just don't know exactly how.
I don't think does he get run over by a snowplow? He runs off in traffic to escape and gets hit by a snowplow.
No, I was kind of thinking at first that they needed Melvin to confess.
Okay.
And then so they get the college kids to give him some ecstasy or something.
They drug him.
They drug him
it's not admissible.
Like a truth serum. Well, there's no police here.
That's true. But if the idea is justice, on it to justify their own actions, then that's not admissible.
Well, because my one thought was that they drug him to try to get him to confess. So they have the confession on tape for when the police get here.
Okay.
The problem is that while they're on tape, he overdoses and dies. And once the cops get there, now there's 3 dead bodies and this crazy thought skimmer that all it says is like, God, I hope they know it wasn't me, or I hope the cops don't read this, or something like that. I think that's almost like the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like once the cops get there, like, wait, you guys murdered 3 people here? And they go, no, the crazy guy murdered Anne in the pool, and then Melvin just went nuts, and then we tried to drug him to get him to tell the truth, and they go, what is happening here?
The cops arrive, and we are left unsure if they buy everybody's story. I think that's a fine ending, but I think the method of Melvin's like death needs to be more concrete.
Okay.
Does Herschel die? I don't think Herschel dies. I don't think Melvin gets to him.
No, they catch him before, but maybe he's like just so messed up from like the bad LSD trip that he just doesn't make any sense anymore.
Melvin or Herschel, who is still tripping.
Yeah. So they tie up Melvin, and I kind of like having the college kids be like, ecstasy. That's what they invented, ecstasy to be like true serum for Vietnam War, and people are like, is that true? Fine.
Listen, man, I studied in my pharmacology class.
Hey, are you guys in college? I am. So and then they give Melvin.
Ecstasy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in all honesty, that was developed for being a truth serum. I think that's kind of true.
Was ecstasy developed as a truth serum? Wow, I did not say that. MDMA developed in 1912. Methylsafrilamine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was covertly tested by the military in the 50s, but every drug was tested by the U.S. military as truth serum.
Well, no, some of them were tested as like superhuman.
MK Ultra was a mind control thing.
Yeah, but I know that it was a drug that was like, I think it was designed to be a true serum, and then they're like, oh, well, this is whatever. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Sodium pentothal is that one that loosens you up, so you're more willing to be truthful. I think.
Maybe it's college kids.
College kids is just weird. Why use sodium pentothal? Hey, man, when you do all the drugs, you got to look for other drugs.
Hey, man, Herschel for some weird stuff sometimes.
Does all drugs not count other drugs as part of that umbrella? It's like, hey, man, I'm getting like a C in my philosophy class. How?
Look, man, I don't need more homework, buddy. Learn on your own. All right. Okay. So, what do you think about this ending?
I like it. I think Melvin needs to be dispatched. You know what I mean?
You don't like him just overdosing on drugs and like a violent.
They intentionally overdose him.
Not intentionally.
Oh, they're just bad at doses, so the college kids are responsible for death as well as manslaughter.
Nobody knows who's responsible. They have to use the fault skimmer.
That feels a little too. It feels like.
Well, how do you think that Melvin should die?
I think Melvin should die of his own stupid actions. Like he runs off into the snow and gets lost, or he tries to fight free of his bonds and falls out a window, or he tries to do, or he is the one who takes the drugs intentionally or something. You know what I mean? It needs to be at his own accord.
Does it need to be on his own accord, or does it need to be in a way where somebody will think that they did it?
Someone thinks that Melvin did it?
Someone thinks that they killed Melvin. Like, say someone's holding a knife and then Melvin just like runs into him or something.
Oh, I
you know
see.
what I mean? Like something like that where like they kind of did it.
Where they are at least.
Because then I guess my thought is like the cops get there, they take everyone's statement and whatever, and as they're leaving, they look over and go, what's this thing? And the main character's like, oh, it's a thought skimmer. And then the first thing comes out is like, I definitely didn't kill Melvin, right? And then the cops are like, what?
What if Melvin is tied up on in a chair, and there's a broken window behind him for whatever reason, because the fight broke the window. And somehow, someone accidentally tips him backwards out of the window on the chair.
Okay.
And then the Thought Skimmer's last line is, I didn't kill him, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's how it should end. It should end with the cops seeing the device, kind of believing everyone's story, even though it's crazy. And then at the very last moment, it just prints out. Maybe the main character is the one who just like maybe grabs Melvin by like the collar. It's like, why did you do this? And then maybe just Melvin kind of slips a little bit and falls like to the back of his neck on the broken glass that comes out.
Oh God, the raid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
Jumps out the window and dies.
Yeah.
The cops are in the left. I'm sure they buy everybody's story. Thoughts as the cops leave. The Thought Skimmer prints out.
Maybe we don't know what happened to Melvin, right? If we look at it from an audience point of view, let's say once the cops get there, Melvin's dead. And we just hear the story of everyone there.
Yeah, sure.
And it turned out that they all decided to kill Melvin together.
Cool. Okay, yeah. And dies. Or only because I like both these ideas.
Yeah, I do like them both. I can't figure out which one I like more.
We don't see Melvin die, but he's dead when the cops arrive, and everybody gives same detailed story. And the cops arrive and want to ensure they buy everybody's story, and as they leave, the Thought Skimmer prints out something like, I'm not responsible for his death, right?
Or as they leave, the cop sees it, it's like, what's that thing? And they go, oh, it's this weird Thought Skimmer that I invented. And the cop turns it on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh,
sure.
And like, it's every single one. Like, you know, I hope the cops buy this. They got to get out of here. We got to clean this up. I hope they don't find whatever. Yeah. And it's just like a bunch of this. I think that's cool.
Yeah. I think, cool.
That's it.
That's it for today. I think we need to go through and add some details in the second act as far as progression goes, but I don't know. I think we might be at a good spot for this one.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty good. I think I agree with you. If we were going to take this and do something with it, we would need to kind of flesh out a little bit of these things, make a little more character arcs, kind of develop some of these characters a little more just to make sure that they are somewhat real and that the story is a believable progress. We might pick this up again next week.
Yeah.
If we don't, we will have something brand new and very, very interesting and very cool. So stay tuned for that. If you want to hear anything else that we do, you can always open up anything whatsoever and type in Some Nobodies, and you'll find some weird stuff that Dylan wrote, and most likely, I keep burping for some reason.
I'm yawning, you're burping. We are a sight for sore eyes.
We are a sight for sore ears.
Sore ears.
We appreciate any attention and all attention. We just like being listened to and talked at. Yeah. So thank you very much for commenting along. Like always, if you see us on here, comment. Let us know what you think of our stories. Let us know where we should go. Let us know if you know somebody in Netflix that is going to allow us to sell out. Because like Dylan said yesterday, we're just trying to get puffy. And that's it. Any final words, Mr. Dylan?
Nah.
Homeboy needs a nap. All right, folks. Well, until next time, I have been Zach. He has been Dylan. And you've been great. Mm-hmm. Have a great day. Drink some water.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.